I mean, just the way you say it. I mean, just the way I say it. I don't know. It feels good to say it. So, hey, Melinda. Um, I am so happy, of course, to be here and to get a chance to talk to you guys. What a blessing this is. And so as I'm getting myself set up here, I actually went through the grocery store on my way here and on my way home. And it seems as though what should have been like a 20-minute ordeal took me forever. And I finally get home and I'm just happy to be here. I get home, I don't even get a chance to put up the stuff that I bought, but it'll happen, and I get to come on and talk to you guys. So I'm glad to be here. Also, it's been an awesome week since the last time I talked to you guys. It just seems like I have had meditations and experiences have of moments of just total clairvoyance and light and love and all that good stuff. So it's always wonderful to get a chance to come back on and share with you guys. I'm actually looking around and not seeing my Course in Miracles book, so I may need to go in search of that for a second, and so I can get myself my framework, my mindset in order, and so I might need to play a song for you guys or something until I can get my book. Anyway, so I can play. Oh, you can play a song. You want to play a song and then I come right back? That would be great. You're so helpful, Regis. Oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to drop the mic and then I'll be right back. All right. Okay, so I have to go in search of my book. Okay. Did you just buy one pack of avocados or two? Okay. don't know. Okay, so that's interesting. Wow, I love that, Regis. That was just so nice and caressing and just caused my, you know how they say it just takes you down a level, like it calms your nerves and eases your blood pressure and just, it felt so good. Who was that? My goodness, I love it. I love it. Okay, and so please let me know who that was because that's something I would love to play. Ah, I should have known it was Karen Drucker. That's the same person that I see the face of God, right? I got that from you before, and I play that all the time, especially for my dad in his room, in his hospital room. So thank you so much for that. All right, so you guys, here I am, and let me intro this. This is a Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The aim of the course is not to teach the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to your awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all encompassing can have no opposites. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Oh, so in the stillness of this moment, I greet you in love, in light, and in oneness, knowing that everything that is spoken here, whether I know I'm supposed to speak it or not, is in divine order, and I'm just giving thanks right now that I'm being used in a mighty and awesome way by Spirit. So, having said that, you guys, I am just so elated to share with you guys on this particular day. I am like grappling around and moving around on my desk looking for little things like my cheaters, those little glasses that I wear. And I'm only seeing the pair that's broken. And since I have the webcam up, I don't want to put on the broken pair. And so it'll be okay, whatever I choose to put on or whatever I choose to do. Where are you going? Oh, for what? That it's Oh my gosh. Okay, so I feel like sometimes I'm being held hostage because, um, yeah, because I'm on the air. Anyway, so I'm releasing that. I'm releasing that. I'm releasing that. So here I am, and this is Course in Miracles time, and I'm just working on this. So I am never upset for the reasons I think I am. All is well, all is okay. I just have to let it go and just be present right here, right now, because this is what's important. So you guys, I want to share with you what it is. I opened up to the book, I looked and I saw something, and I wanted to share with you that and go from there and just be totally present in the moment. You guys, it's funny. It's funny. Sometimes there's so much that goes on that we don't get to see. we don't get to see, that we don't get to hear, and all of that stuff. And so sometimes it seems as though, even though I'm here and I'm doing this for you guys, it seems like there's stuff that is still going on around me that I have absolutely no control over. And because I'm here, it's like I can't even deal with it. I'm just sitting here thinking like, okay, why, why? Okay, so here's where we go, because I know Spirit is trying to have a conversation with me, and I'm blocking it because somebody else is doing something else that's interesting. And you know, and so let me say this: we go through these things, we do this work, and this work is really all about us learning how to be better at who we are. We don't come, I don't think any of us come to this place, to this room, trying to put on a facade or a face like we're perfect. It is that this course teaches us what it is that we need to know, what it is that we need to work on within ourselves. And so as I, work on my level of trust, not just trusting in myself, but trusting in others too, it becomes this thing of, it's a constant growth. It's a constant growth. It's a constant growth. And until we're there, until you're there, until I'm there, you're not there. It seems like we work to get to that place where like I try to say, I don't know that I want to say that the waters are always smooth, but I always learn how to deal with things in a way that is loving and in a way that is respectful and all that stuff. So when I opened up my book, I looked down and that says, if the ego is a symbol of separation, it is also the symbol of guilt. Guilt is more than merely not of God. It's a symbol of attack on God. This is a totally meaningless concept except to the ego. But do not underestimate the power of the ego's belief in it. This is a belief from which all guilt really stems. So why am I seeing this? Why is it that came up for me? Am I having certain issues that are of this ego? As I'm dealing with this, am I having issues that would say that I'm trying to attack, that I am not seeing love? It's funny. I remember when I first started out in this, I used to fight up against this thing called ego, because everybody made it seem like the ego was something you were supposed to conquer. And I was like, trying to figure out, well, why am I supposed to conquer my ego? And the more that I read about it and I struggled up against it, I started thinking, wow, um, as opposed to it being something that I'm supposed to deny that I'm having, maybe it's something that I'm supposed to learn from. It is my teacher. So if I know the truth about myself and my ego is still there, my ego still comes up, maybe it's there to show me and to guide me. Because I always say to folks, it's kind of like that thing when Jesus told us the poor will be with you always. I'll say to you guys, your ego will be with you always until there is no body anymore, until you have, until you're out of this physical being, you will always have an ego. And I know people will say, oh, I don't have an ego, but the moment you say I, it becomes this awareness that you are designating the singular person out of the collective I. And so that in and of itself shows us that we will, as long as you're conscious of there being a you and I being an I, there is an I. So there's an ego. But we still think we should be happening every moment, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But we still think we should be. Okay, yeah. Um, yeah, my ego is pretty poor. Okay, so we think we should know. Yeah, it's interesting. For me, I know that I come to this and I come I try my best to come from a humble perspective, a perspective that says that that I've got I got a life and stuff going on in my life, and that it is sometimes it's sometimes for me a struggle, even though I know, you know, uh, I, I recognize and I know that everything is about me, that I am, out picturing and I am teaching myself lessons at every moment of the day. I know those things, but still when things crop up, it's like I'm sitting there. So today when I come home, I get home and I'm rushing, of course, to get here because I'm supposed to be on the radio. So as I pull up in front of my house now, you guys don't know this, but the other day I spent like 6 hours out there. I cut my lawn. I sat out there. I dug dandelions out of the grass. I put down, the black mulch. I pulled up all the weeds. I did all this stuff. And when I pull up to my house, there is someone standing in my flower bed. I mean, she's standing there and she's talking to somebody with her feet firmly planted in my flower bed. And, you know, I, I couldn't even pull into my driveway for stopping my car and thinking, why are you standing in my flower bed? And it was like all I can do to say to myself, okay, Sandra, it's never what you think. We're never upset for the things that we think we are. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, why you think is she was standing there because it was so pretty? Is that what you, you know, and I mean, for the life of me, it's like, why would you, I don't know. I don't know. As a matter of fact, I didn't even ask because I thought there was no nice way that that could come out of my mouth. And so I just kind of like thought, okay, I don't know why she's in my flower bed, but I just want her to get out of my flower bed and to move wherever she needed to move to, so that I can just come on in the house. And so I came into the house without saying a word, but it was still like something that was just like, and then there's these, and then it's all these other little things that, it seems like we have to confront. And I don't know. Sometimes I don't think that I even need to give it any energy. You already know, if you look down and you saw that somebody put work into it, you already know that you shouldn't be standing there, right? I mean, it seems to me, it seems to me that you would already know that. And so, if I am seeing something wrong, is it me, or is it that I am supposed to um, figure out? Let's see, what I am supposed to. No, 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 no. I could sit there and I could think to myself, well, you know what? It's not that big of a deal because it's really not. It's really not. I just thought that it was just very inconsiderate, and I didn't know the lady. I thought it was very inconsiderate to stand in my flower bed. So it's an opportunity to practice detachment. And since I don't know who said I wanted to practice detachment. Regis, I'm very much into being in my body. I am fully here and present right now. I am being fully present right now, and sucking every bit of juice out of this life that I'm living right here and right now. And so while I didn't say anything, I can't say that my mind didn't go there and think these thoughts of get out of my flower bed. you know so yes, I Sandra, Sandra has a value on living her truth out and living in the moment. And while I am studying all that I study, say for instance, and I love studying everything I can get my hands on. But I also have this wonderful awareness about about why I'm here at this time on this plane in this body at this moment. So let me I try not to I didn't want to do this preemptively, but let me talk a little bit about what I talked about this weekend at church, because I did give a talk yesterday at church, and I was going to play a tape for you guys. Play the tape once I get the CD, but I can talk about it a little bit now. I talked about this concept of vibrational alignment. And for vibrational alignment, there are, of course, we know everything has a vibration, absolutely everything. Whether or not you know it or not, everything vibrates. Whether we are talking about a bug or inanimate objects, things that everything has a vibration. As a matter of fact, when you look at this very structure of an atom, atoms you say start your webcams. Uh, Atoms are basically, these things, protons, neutrons, that revolve around a nucleus. I mean, they've got all these parts to them. And even though they may be steel, or they may be heavy, or they may have some particular weight, they are still in motion. Everything has a vibration. Each one of us has a vibration, a feel, something that is textural, that we can almost tangible, that we can feel. You guys know me sometimes just simply by my energy, if not my voice. Those things, energetic, energy wise, everything is vibrating on some particular level or another. I was talking about yesterday, I got this glimmer, this remembrance of when I was a child and I used to go in to see the doctor, and the doctor would pull out this like a fork like thing, and he would hit it on something, and he would touch it onto my leg or my knee or whatever, and it was like a tuning fork. And at the time it didn't have a meaning for me, and I didn't understand why it was, but to some extent I would have these tuning forks. You would see a doctor and they would hit the tuning fork and they would put it on you. And so I was kind of curious as to why they did it, but never to the point where I ever understood it. Like I didn't understand them hitting your knee with the little rubber handle, hammer, to see about your reflexes. I didn't understand it. It was just what they did. Anyway, as I was studying for this vibrational thing, I started realizing that vibrations, you can tell a vibration, or when you touch something, it vibrates, and the vibration travels through. So if it's traveling through your bones, you can detect where a fracture or a break is simply by where the vibration stops or begins and ends. So when there is a break or an interruption, the vibration either stops or it changes. It changes to some degree. Everything has a vibratory pattern. Even when people talk about this, talk about opening up the Akashic records, is that how you say it? Um, I mean, there are these vibratory patterns. I remember when I used to get a feel for different spirits or different things, it would almost be like if you can. Okay, so that's an ambulance. It's almost like if you can key into a particular vibration, you can connect with that energy. And it doesn't matter how long ago it was, the vibration doesn't change. All of us vibrate. All of us have a vibratory energy about us. The same is true of anything, any particular thing. So when I started looking into this thing about vibrations and how vibrations work, I started thinking about the vibrations that each of us has. You can actually feel somebody's vibration or their vibratory pattern, whether it's heavy or whether it's light, it's high, it's energetic, it's soothing, comfortable, peaceful, complimentary, or condescending. Everything has a feel and a texture to it. And so when I talk about vibrations, I talked about it from that particular standpoint of view. So I started thinking to myself, I am on this level. I am in a body. I know who I am. I am this person, designation, part of God, but the designation that I have currently is Sandra Bishop. And currently I reside here in Cleveland, Ohio. And currently, this is the vibratory pattern that I am on. It doesn't mean that those vibrations don't change from time to time. I mean, sometimes things take us off of where we normally would be and set us someplace else. So, for instance, when my father got sick and I'm spending days and nights at the hospital, I'm sure my energy probably waned simply just a little bit. But every time I got a chance to come back here, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about showing up, because once I get a chance to reconnect to my truth, I mean, I've always got all these other folks and their issues going on in there, and that's going on that I'm dealing with, but I connect and reconnect into my truth, and that way, as I reconnect, I get to lift my vibratory patterns back to where they're supposed to be for me. I don't know about how yours are, but for me, I need to sort of reassert myself to reclaim where I am from time to time, because from time to time, when we're dealing with different issues, we tend to forget. Everybody does that to some extent. Now, you'll see people who constantly get this challenge that comes up in their life. So they pull into their yard and they see somebody standing in their flower bed, and they're tempted to get off of that, that one high plane that they're on, the plane of love, the plane of seeing, as God would see the world, of seeing these just wonderful things all the time. And then all of a sudden, it's like something, comes up and it's like, whoa. And so it becomes this challenge, I think, that we all go through in order for us to grow through that. How do we how do we stay? How do we stay on the frequency that we so desire all the time? And that becomes the real challenge. That's what part of what all of this teaching is about. How to be consistently aware of the truth. Nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. How to be consistently aware of only love is real, even when we're tempted to be in the place that we are these physical beings in this beingness. How do we then confront and deal with what we deal with in the bodies that we're in the experience that we're in? And so we took on these bodies. We took on these bodies by choice for a reason. And so, we go through all of this stuff. And so it's like, so that we can see the truth about our being. The truth about our being is that there really is no, the physicality. It's not the enduring truth. It's simply the truth right now for me, and maybe not for you. I know for me, when I say that I'm in this juice and I'm sucking every bit of energy out of it, that may not be true for everybody. I mean, some people, I know you're sitting there and you're like thinking like, oh man, I gotta be here. I gotta enjoy this sunshine. I've gotta enjoy the hot weather. Darn it. I'd rather be nothing, or not nothing, but I'd rather be spirit, and then I don't have to deal with any of this stuff. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts and your feelings are, but I'm like thinking, if I've got to be in this body, I might as well enjoy it. I mean, and then it's like so I and it's so good. It's so good. How can I possibly curse it? How could I possibly not see the wonderment in it? It's kind of like sometimes I think of those shows where you see an alien and it comes to Earth, like K-Pax, that movie K-Pax, and all of a sudden he's introduced to fruit, and it's like, wow, how wonderful is this? You get to suck the juice out of a peach. You get to eat a pear or an orange, and it's so alive and it's got life in it. Just the other day, I did this little share a note on Facebook, and I was talking about I'd gone to this restaurant. I know this is a little off topic, but it's me. This is me. Um, so I went to this restaurant, and as I sat there and I'm eating this Caesar salad, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, this is not a good Caesar salad. It really wasn't. And I said to the waiter when he came back, I said, this lettuce was just not that fresh. And he was like, oh, it's fresh. He was like, we just opened that bag. And I sat there and I looked at him and I said, well, you do know that lettuce doesn't come from a bag. And he says, yeah, I know. He says, lettuce, it comes off of the truck. He says, and we get regular deliveries because we give it away for free with our meals. And I sat there and I thought, do I need to tell him that lettuce doesn't come from a truck either, or should I explain it further? But I did neither. I was like thinking to myself, like, oh, uh, okay, you know. But as I thought about it, I kept thinking to myself, like there's something wonderful about fresh vegetables and fresh fruit that just dare you to, to try to consume them. Like when, yeah, let us pray. So let us pray. Yes. So it sort of dares you to bite it, a tomato doesn't just sit there. Like a withered tomato is one thing, but a fresh tomato it just kind of like bites back at you, like, I'm not surrendering, and it just kind of gives itself over to you at the last minute, and it just bursts into your mouth with such freshness. And the same thing with lettuce. It just refuses to give up its strength, and then it's like that's why you hear the crunch when you bite into it. And so this guy, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, like, everything is so wonderful. It's lending itself, giving itself over to us. It's kind of like saying, you know what, I will not. But there is this reward once you stick it in your mouth and it's really fresh. It kind of, it gives itself to you for yourself, for your betterment. And so so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm not going to tell this guy this big lecture about lettuce and freshness and all that other stuff. I'm just going to pay my bill and be done with it. But at the same time, I kept thinking to myself, like, wow, I can't wait to get home to my own garden and, and my tomatoes. And I know I just planted them, but the thought of them growing and wanting me to consume them, and them becoming part of something greater than themselves in being consumed. And so it is this act of giving life for life that happens all the time. I always said, and I share with people all the time, my image of God is not something separate and apart and out there, but the very energy that animates all things, and it gives itself to us as us. And in that divine givingness, I get to have this breath. I get to have this voice. I get to have this body. It is the very energy that animates and makes possible all that I do. And so it is the same thing with everything else. It's all this energy combined, all these vibratory patterns combined to be who you are. It's so wonderful when we see all of this stuff and how it all works together. It's part of a whole system that is just giving itself divinely to you, as you. And so as I think about it, this thing, this ego, this self that is I am made up of and take part in allness. And so whether it is the vegetable or some animal or whatever that has lended itself to me to continue with this pattern that I'm on, all of it just kind of coming together. I mean, how blessed could you be to be my food? How blessed can you be to be my entertainment? How blessed can you be to be part of God? I mean, how blessed we must all be to be here in this space now. And so, it becomes this thing of, of us taking these blinders off, right? Of us taking these blinders off that would tell us that something is amiss, when maybe that woman standing in my flower bed was just the lesson that I needed, just the impetus that I needed to come in here to talk to you today. Maybe she was planted there by Spirit, just so Spirit can give Sandra something that she could chew on, something I could bite into, something that I could really get a hold of. That was on purpose. It was part of a plan. And if I see anything out of order, then I have misidentified it, right? So we're never upset for the reasons we think we are. We're upset because God so loved us that he wanted us to see something. She wanted us to see something different. And so what causes us to look differently? What causes us to look with new insight or new eyes? It could just be our level of discomfort with what we see on a regular basis or what we see in our current line of sight. It could just be that. And so as I'm sitting there and I'm looking, I was looking at this guy in this wilted lettuce, wondering, really, is this an argument or is this a debate that I want to have? Do I want to tell him that vegetables come out of the ground and then they go, they're washed, they go to a packing plant, they're, all of this stuff before they get put on a truck, then they get on a truck, they're shipped probably clear across country, because I stay in Cleveland and I know lettuce is not being grown here. And what was that in April? I know, well, it could be, but I mean, I knew that it wasn't. I knew that it had some travel time on it. It had some lag time to it. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, it's cool. It's really cool. But maybe we just needed to have that conversation at the time. Maybe it was something there for him, something there for me, something to make me appreciate the things that I see and the things that I have and the way that I was raised, and my parents and my grandparents being from down south and them having a value on putting seeds in the soil, covering it over, and knowing that something wonderful Spirit is working on it to give it a manifestation that will become the very energy that I consume, the food that I consume, and it'll bite me back. Oh, isn't that special? My ego, my ego would have me see something wrong in the system, something that is out of place in the system, something that I need to be angry or upset about. My ego would try to make it a right or wrong. But love says that the only thing that I am confronting, the only thing I see is God. So I give it, right? Yeah, so my ego wants me to say, yes, something wrong in the system. It does, it does, it does. And so it becomes this thing of, let me correct my vision. Let me remove the blocks to my awareness of love's presence, which is my natural inheritance. And so if I remove the blocks to my awareness, I see it as all love. Oh man, isn't that great? So it's so wonderful when when you have this change of heart, this change of sight, this change in how you see things, and the willingness to want to see it differently. So when I ask the question, if I say I want to see this differently, I know that Spirit gives me exactly what I ask for. If I want to see it different, it gives it to me in a different way to see it. Yes, I get to change my mind. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so let me look. I look down. I see something else that I want to read, and so I am going to read that. Oh, you guys, this is so awesome. Um, So it says the ego believes that by punishing itself, it will mitigate the punishment of God. Yet, even in this, it is arrogant. It attributes to God a punishing intent and then takes this intent to its own prerogative. It tries to usurp all the functions of God as it perceives them because it recognizes that only total allegiance can be trusted. You know what? It's so funny. Whoever said, where did we get the notion that God was out to punish us? Was it from that original story about the separation? Yeah, the Bible. The original story about the separation, that we let us create man in our own image, it said. And then when man sought to see as God sees the good and evil, yeah, sought enlightenment, then we were punished for that. Oh, of course, no. Of course not. Of course not. I'm sorry. Woman sought enlightenment because the snake said, you know what? It said to the woman. And then the man said, well, God, that woman that thou gavest me, she told me I should eat the apple. And when a woman tells you to do something, we got to do it. And so she was the one that did this. And so, of course, it's been crazy ever since. And so there is this, even in that, there is the, did you say that? Did you really say that, doctor? Okay, so I'm just, la, 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 la. No, you guys didn't hear anything. He just typed something onto the board, and it's all good. So, so it becomes this thing of us um, of us correcting our perceptions about what is true and what is real. So there is no punishment. There is no one sitting. As a matter of fact, let me continue on with my vibration thing. If there is a break in a bone or a break in a system, the vibration stops. So when you take a tuning fork and you hit somebody on the knee, it'll stop at the break or where it ends. The vibrations flow outward, just like the ripples on the water when you drop a stone in there. We have the perception that the ripples go outwards away from the stone rather than inwards towards where the stone was dropped. The vibrations, because there is a shift in the pattern, the vibrations are moving. So now, why do I say this? Because everything we do has a vibration. When I talk to you, when I share with you, it has a vibration. When you share your energy, you have a vibration. You have a purpose for it. Now, the ideas leave not their source, right? The ideas may travel from my mouth to your ears or to your eyes or to your perception. But those things, we like to think that that's where it begins and ends. But it's kind of like a seed. We drop a seed onto the ground. We cover it up. Sometimes I just cover it up ever so lightly, and I put a little water on there, right? And it may be just like my words. I may not stand there and see the 60 days that it takes for it to germinate, or maybe 3 days. I mean, when you plant a cucumber seed, it only takes less than a week for it to start germinating and for you to see something come up. Those things grow so rapidly. some things have a quick turnaround time. And so you may see the vibration and that ripple effect as it goes endlessly. Or it may appear to have absolutely nothing happen. But because you've then planted the seed, if you've let that idea, if you've shared that idea with others, then you may never know the multiple ways in which it comes up, the manifestation that your words, your energy, your sharing has upon others. If nothing else, it encourages them to do what they do, to keep doing what they do, to know the truth about their own being, and to bear witness to that. You never know where these vibrations begin and end because they are ongoing. Sometimes I read stuff, I totally forget that I read it, or I totally forget that I saw it, and years later it comes up for me. So when I talked yesterday during my talk, I am I am quick to tell people that things just pop up in my mind as I talk, because I know that spirit talks to all of us in symbolic patterns. And so something that I may have seen or touched on or read years ago may pop up into the framework or into the lens of my consciousness, my mind. It pops up on the frame. And usually what I do when something pops up is that I know it's there for a reason. And so if it comes up, it comes out. I always think that the messages are not always for me. Sometimes they're for somebody else. And if I'm obedient enough to say what it is, that the impression that I got or what it is that I get from it, then I will be able to, to do that miracle worker stuff that we are doing. Because remember, when we do what we do, we're not supposed to have judgments about it. We're not supposed to prepare for it. It just comes up and it comes out. And in that way, we are not sitting there and making it seem like Sandra did it, or Regis did it, or Dove did it, or Paul did it. We are knowing that Spirit is speaking to us and using us and moving through us. Just like when you hear Veronica. I mean, it's just like that thing. It just kind of just comes up, it comes out, and it's just so perfect and right on time. And we don't know. We don't know what it's supposed to do. All we know is that we're supposed to say it, and so you say it. And that's what it means to be used as a conduit for love and for this expression of God and God's message, the miracle worker stuff. So while I was giving this talk, there was a line that came up for me, and it talks about in the beginning of the course, it talks about the idea of revelation, and it says revelation is like it doesn't say it like this, but it's like this instant download, and this instant download that may take all of 2 seconds, and you see a picture so very clearly and vividly in your mind, and in that 2 seconds, that little picture, that little glimmer, that glimpse that you got has all the meaning that it has for you. And so since you know it has all this meaning for you, you then try to share what it is that you got from it. But you and Spirit knows what it was trying to convey to you, even though everybody else would not. So while I was talking, I got this vivid picture of a spider was crawling up your leg. Okay, so yeah, I didn't get the vivid picture of a spider crawling up my leg because you would have heard me scream. But I did get a vivid picture of this book that I have read before, this book called Jitterbug Perfume. I do believe it was by Tom Rollins is what I think I said, because I knew it when I said it. It came to me so clearly. And in this book, he was talking about the Greek god Pan. And in the story, so I kind of gave the history about what the Greek god Pan meant, and so I talked about him, and then I talked about this awareness, this idea, this following of this Greek god over time. And there was a conversation that was had about this Pan between some folks. And one of the things that it said was, because they were saying, wow, that he seems to be losing his power. And so what the other person turned around and said to him was, don't wax yourself. That was the word, the verbiage. It says, don't wax yourself. And you know what it means to wax. To wax is to layer on, to make larger, to gloss. You know what it means to wax. Don't wax yourself, it says. Man would not have a God if there was not a need for gods. And so it became this concept that that this the reason why we have yeah, don't wane, just be. Okay, so don't wax, don't wane, just be. There you go, Dove. So we have this perception. Well, what was shared is it said man would not have gods if he didn't have a need for gods. I would take that, and I would also say you wouldn't have the devil if there was not a need for the devil. We need something or somebody to blame stuff on. So the times that we don't come fully to the table, the time that we miss the mark, the times where we would judge ourselves bad or not doing what it is that we think we ought to do, we want to be able to point to something and blame something else, to outpicture it and say it wasn't me. That's the ego wanting to say it's not I, it is that, it is the devil, or it is God that did this, that, and the other, because we don't want to own that stuff. And so it was so interesting as I looked at that, and I kept thinking, I kept thinking to myself, like, okay, what is, that over the years, even though I read that Jitterbug Perfume years ago, that one line that said, don't wax yourself, man wouldn't have a God if there wasn't a need for God, has stayed with me for years. And so I'm always conscious of whether or not, so y'all, here's the other thing. Whether or not man is for God or God is for man. Isn't that, you know what I mean? Ah, I accept the atonement for myself. Yes, 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 Dove, you do. So, So it's so amazing to me, because this goes back to the teachings of Jesus. It goes back on so many levels. I mean, we could sit and we can talk about this idea, these concepts, until the cows come home. I give meaning to everything I see. I give meaning to everything I see. And even the things that I don't see, I still give meaning to it. And so if you are giving meaning to the conditions of your life, some of the meaning that you may give to it means that it is not coming from this thing, this self that you call I. It means that sometimes you're blaming, of course, not a course student, but sometimes folks are blaming the devil, and sometimes folks are blaming God, when it's all could simply be my one self. Ah! Oh, isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? So if it is coming just from your one self, there is nothing to blame. There is nothing to look out and say, oh, you did this to me. And so it becomes this thing of, we're always trying to look outside of ourselves for the messages, for the miracles, for this, that, and the other. We're always looking outside of ourselves. But here is, maybe maybe that is the whole thing. Maybe all this stuff, the lady standing in my flower bed, my friend, coming in here and telling me something while I'm on the air, me leaving my book, maybe everything that happened today came to me so that I can see just one thing, that my salvation comes from my one self. Yeah. I will thank you, Paul. I will tell my dad that you are still rooting for him. As a matter of fact, Bless your heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As a matter of fact, there was a friend after I did the Sunday service. Bless your heart. After I did my Sunday service, I contacted a friend of mine who uses tuning forks, and I said to her that I wanted her to come in and give my dad a tune-up, a vibratory tune-up, because sometimes I think that it's simply that his brain can't map its way through all the muscles in his body that would cause him to be able to move in a way that he desires. And so if through vibrational tuning forks, he can begin to remap, his mind can remap the circuitry that would cause him to be able to lift his arms or lift his legs or tell his muscles what to do. If that would help, she's got tuning forks, and I'm so blessed that she's agreed to come out. And so I'll have to keep you guys abreast on that. As a matter of fact, my girlfriend Crystal, she does a number of things besides the tuning forks. She used to do singing bowls and things like that. She was getting into a lot of different modalities. We had originally taken the psychic development courses, and where I stepped away from some of those things. She kind of delved head first into them, and loves doing that. And as a matter of fact, unlike the doctors, she uses her tuning forks, and she tunes them. They are supposed to be there to be able to call not only angels, but also to remap circuitry. So I will let you guys know, Melinda, um, how all of that goes as soon as she comes in to see him. And so, you guys, it's time for me to go. And I can't even tell you how wonderful it is to be able to come on here and share and to do what we do here. So, thank you so much for being here with me. I will see you all on Wednesday. And on Wednesday I'll talk to you again between hours of 7 and 8. So thank you, bless your hearts, love you. SandraSaidIt.com, Sandra D. Bishop on Facebook, and follow me at Sam Bishop on Twitter. All right, bless your hearts, and thank you so much. Bless your heart, Dove and Regis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See ya.